Here's the question to ask yourself. How do we change the message of our advertising to match the conversation taking place in the minds of our client group? Where should we double down on our advertising and marketing spend? This is a big one, so I really want you to pay attention to this. This might prevent many of you from making big mistakes here. So here's the question to ask. Where have competitors retreated where we should double down? Where have competitors retreated where we should double down? So I told you, right? The Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, says, when others are greedy, be fearful. And when others are fearful, be greedy. You want to find where fear is opening up gaps of opportunity for you in your advertising and marketing efforts. So here's a case example. In the 1920s, going through the Depression, Post cereal was the dominant cereal maker of that time. And when the Depression hit, they cut their advertising budget significantly. Well, that is when their rival, Kellogg, doubled down on their advertising spend. They came out with a new product called Rice Krispies, which had these 3 gnome-like characters on it, snap, crackle, and pop, and they doubled down on their advertising. Well, Kellogg's profits grew by more than 30% during the Depression. They became the category leader, and they have remained so ever since. Here's another example. During the 1970 OPEC oil embargo that caused the great energy crisis of the 1970s and a 17-long-month recession, during that time, new fuel efficiency standards were imposed. America had all these big giant cars, and now they had all these new fuel efficiency standards. Well, perfectly positioned, but fearful of declining sales, Volkswagen cut their advertising spend. That is when Toyota floored the gas and sped right past Volkswagen, becoming the #1 import car of the United States just months after coming out of that 17-month recessionary period of time. And they are still the #1 import car. And Volkswagen is number 5. And Toyota does 3 times the import business than Volkswagen. Here's another case example. October 19th, 1987, the stock market around the world crashed. By the 1990s, we were in what was considered a full recession. McDonald's dropped its advertising and promotional budget. Pizza Hut and Taco Bell increased theirs. During that 9-month recessionary period of time, Pizza Hut increased their sales by 61%, Taco Bell by 40%, McDonald's sales dropped 28%. Here's another example. During the Great Recession that we all lived through, most companies pulled back on their advertising and marketing spend. That's when Amazon doubled down with their aggressive promotion for the Kindle e-reader, offering a lower cost alternative to physical book purchases. And we all know what happened to Amazon after that. Coming out of 2017, their revenue was $19 billion. In 2019, it was $281 billion. So here's the question to ask yourself. How do we change the message of our advertising to match the conversation taking place in the minds of our client group? Where should we double down on our advertising and marketing spend? You want to give people what they want, so that later you can introduce them to what you know they need. See, you've been going to the marketplace knowing what they need, but they may not know that right now. And that's the mistake of most marketing and advertising. See, you're too much of an expert in your space. You know what they need, and that's what your message is focused around. No. You want to match the conversation that's taking place in their mind. You want to give them what they think they want in order to later serve them what they need, now that you have a relationship with them and that they trust you as an advisor. Now, that's a huge tip there. I really hope that that one sunk in for you, because that's the magic of becoming a game changer in an industry, to become a market authority, to rise up as a white knight within the community. Meet people where they are so that you can take them to where they want to go. That means you need to serve a message to what they think they want right now in order to later help them enroll into what they need. Here's another bonus on this. This is the time to act boldly. This isn't the time to play caution. This is the time to act boldly. Let me give you a classic example. I love this guy. The reason why he's called the freaking modern day Iron Man, Elon Musk. So September 2016, South Australia was undergoing an apocalyptic storm. The 80,000 lightning strikes, 2 tornadoes. It was a cascading electrical failures. 1.7 million residents were forced into darkness. The prime minister blamed it on the state's recent turn towards renewable energy. A fierce debate broke out on Twitter about how to manage the grid. That's when Elon Musk saw an opportunity to act boldly. So he said loudly on Twitter that he could deliver 100 megawatts of storage in 100 days, or it would be free. In other words, he would deliver the world's largest battery ever made in under 100 days, or it would be free. Well, soon the South Australian government unveiled a $550 million energy plan that included Elon's all or nothing $50 million bet that Tesla could deliver. Well, he delivered it with 40 days to spare. Now, he knew that he could, but he needed to propose it boldly. And he was asked, if you had missed that deadline, what would it have cost you? And he said, $50 million, right? But where can you act boldly in your marketplace right now? Now's the time to make those bold moves because it's a vacuum. It's an open territory. And the world is looking for heroes. They're looking for leaders. Act heroically. Okay, here's the next danger leading us into question number 7. We need new sales and marketing ideas and initiatives. We need new business right now. We need new clients and customers right now. So here's the question to ask yourself. Can we recover or grow faster by selling more to our existing clients instead of chasing new ones? You remember the classic story, right, of the man in Northern California who in 1847 owned a big ranch, and then he read that gold was being discovered down in Southern California. So he sold his ranch to Colonel Sutter and ran down south to chase the gold rush. Well, 1848, Colonel Sutter had a mill constructed on the river that ran through that farm. And one day, Sutter's little girl came in and brought some sand off the raceway of the mill that was being constructed, and she placed it before the fire to dry. And as the sand was falling through the little girl's fingers, a visitor saw the shiny scales of the first real gold that was actually ever discovered in California. And those few acres of that ranch produced more gold per acre than anywhere else in all of California, pulling more than $38 million worth of gold from that ranch, the very ranch the man who had sold it in order to chase gold elsewhere. That is what we do in business as well. Often the gold that we seek, that we're chasing elsewhere, was already underneath our feet. And that is your existing customers, the ones you've already endeared yourself, the ones who are you already have a trusted relationship with. Can you do more for those who are already part of your client community? Here's another example of a guy making the right decisions coming out of a crisis. Howard Schultz, who bought Starbucks back in 1985, and from 85 to 2000, he took Starbucks from 6 stores to more than 3,500. And also during that time, he made holding a Starbucks cup a thing of a status symbol. But 8 years after he retired, Starbucks got into trouble. The stock had dropped 42%, and Schultz had to step in to try to save the day. Everybody on Wall Street predicted Starbucks' demise. He called him trying to save the company a death march. He might slow down its death, but he certainly will not save it. McDonald's will definitely kill them, they kept saying. Starbucks' best days are behind him. So Schultz said in an interview, he said, the best advice that he got during that period of time was from the CEO of Costco. And the CEO of Costco said, it is cheaper, faster, and easier to sell more to the customers you already have than the cost and effort of gaining new ones. So Schultz, acting on that advice, created what has been now known as the Starbucks Customer Reward Program. By July of 2008, when Schultz is shucking and jiving to try to save the company, customers loaded up more than $150 million on those customer loyalty cards. That cash infusion was a significant factor in saving the company. Now get this, last year, customers carried $1.6 billion on a Starbucks card. If Starbucks were a bank, they'd be one of the top 10% banks in assets in the world. In 2018 alone, Starbucks earned $156 million in what is called breakage income. What is breakage income? People load cash, real money, onto a Starbucks card and then never redeem it. No coffee is ever even produced against the cash. It's what's called free money, 100% drop, top, bottom. 156 million in 2018, 104 million in 17, and 60.5 million in 2016. So the question to ask yourself here is, what other solutions can we offer our existing customers to increase our cash flow rather than incurring the expense to chase new customers? That is a big idea. No matter the current status of your business, no matter whether we're going through a pandemic or not, I really want you to consider that one seriously. Okay, number 8. Here's the danger you're trying to prevent. We need to look for what's next. We need to innovate. Here's the question. Should we optimize before we innovate? You see, entrepreneurs and business leaders can overly fetishize innovation. More often, the key to growth is actually not doing something new, but rather doing what you're already doing better, faster, cheaper, or deeper. It might be as simple as selling the same product or service you're selling now, but changing the message to make it more relevant to our current times. You might consider relaunching what you already have, but with a new angle, with new promotional fanfare. You see, most companies put an enormous amount of effort and expense into launching new products, right? And then they move on to the next new product after they've launched the last one. However, and this is a big idea here, the magic is in the constant relaunching of that proven winning product, finding new and interesting ways to reintroduce it and possibly address different benefit outcomes. It's kind of like, let's say you took a Coke bottle and you shook it up and then you pop the top. Well, about 10% of the liquid's going to come out on that first spurt. And that's like launching a new product. You shake it up real vigorously, time, energy, effort, you pop the top, and you get a gusher. About 10% of the liquid comes out. And then you're looking for the next bottle to shake up and pop. But what you don't realize is that 90% of the liquid is still in the bottle. And so instead of going and looking for another bottle to go through all the effort of shaking it and popping it, is put a straw in that bottle to get the rest of the liquid out. You see, it's much better to go with a proven winner, one that you already know works. 90% of the opportunity value is still in the bottle. To put it in Texas terms, for my friends in Texas, if you have a productive well, keep drilling it for all it's got, rather than the expense, energy, and effort of wildcatting on the exploration wells that aren't even proven to be productive yet. You're going to dig a bunch of shallow holes and come up empty when you already know you've got a proven winner. Using Pila, the manufacturing company, they ran a previous promotion, what's called a BOGO, buy one, get one sale during the last Cyber Monday promotion. Well, when the coronavirus started occupying the minds and concerns of the global market, Pila reintroduced their BOGO phone case offer, but switched their messaging. Not buy one, get one, wear one, wash one. Simple as that. That's the only shift they made, addressing the market fear of touching things around them while unknowingly contaminating their phones. So, as a result of that offer, Pila is receiving tons of social praise. They're experiencing record sales. During their previous BOGO campaign, Pila saw a 3-to-1 ROAS. ROAS is a return on ad spend. Through the COVID-19 crisis, the same offer with a different message resulted in an 8-to-1 ROAS, return on ad spend. And it has rivaled the volume of their Cyber Monday sales. I'll use our own business as an example. So here at Darren Hardy LLC, we first launched Insane Productivity many years ago, right? I mean, it started off as a live event, and then we recorded that live event, and then that was Insane 1.0, and then we did another live event, and we repackaged it and supercharged it to be Insane 2.0, but that was years ago. In our space, a company launches a new product, and it's successful. They're lucky if it sells 1,000 to 2,000 memberships at that couple thousand person price. Insane Productivity now has over 35,000 members. Why? Because we keep relaunching it. We keep reinvigorating the message. The program is world-class. The program is undeniably the best there is out there. We don't need to create anything new. We need to create a new message in order to find new ways of explaining the value of what's inside. So that's what I want to encourage you to do as well. Instead of looking for what's new, consider how you might relaunch what already you have to match the message of the current marketplace and to innovate on the marketing, not on the product or service development.